So hello viewers, hello everybody. How we doing? How's our day? And hope you're having a good time this wonderful afternoon. I am Samuel Siokore, a global youth activist and also a speaker on loss and damage and climate change. So today we'll be discussing about COP26. What is at stake? Okay, and then I know most of us may or must have been fed up with what has been going on or the promises, the wars, like everything. Okay, I inclusive. So it's not as though you are alone, but it's something that I am also with you as well. Because every day we hear words that never comes to an end. And every day as well, we also get to hear new words that haven't been spoken about before. And the reason why I am doing this live stream here on YouTube is not because I want to tackle the government. No, 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 no. Neither is it because I want to attack the youth. No. But I just want to point out some things that are really, really necessary that we should know about. And also what COP20, what climate of parties is all about, which is called initiated by UNFCCC. Um, and what is the essence of COP, which was initiated in 2015, okay, by during the tenure of Barack Obama, the former president of the United States of America, who also gave me the high level statement, which I see as statement, in the just concluded, which is ending today anyway, COP26. And then I want to talk about, first of all, countries' commitment towards tackling climate change impact in their countries. Now, if countries are committing to zero net carbon by 2060, 2070, 2080, 2040, 2050, or 2030 and thereabouts, it's not bad that countries are actually committing, but what I want to know is how do they measure their carbon footprint? How do they measure the amount of carbon they emit? Okay. And then if they're committing to zero net carbon, how do they measure carbon emission going on in their countries? Okay, so let's say a country committing to zero net carbon by 2060, how can they be able to measure their zero net carbon by 2040? How can they be able to know this is the amount of carbon they have been able to drop? So my major interest is not actually countries who are committing, but my major interest is countries that have not yet stated their ground on the level of carbon emission they will emit by then. Okay, that is my major concern. And then why am I saying this is because for a country that is committing to zero net carbon by 2060, they should be able to tell us by 2040 we must have reduced our carbon emission by 50%. So that is 50% reduction of carbon emission, which is pretty good. Okay, and then if countries are going to zero net carbon by 2070, by 2050 they should be able to tell us that they are able to drop about 50% or more reduction in carbon emission. And as well, if countries want to go into zero net carbon by 2060, what are they actually doing now that will actually be more of a realistic approach to make sure that by 2070 or by 2060, they are driving towards 70% or 80% actualization of zero net carbon economy in their different countries. And this brings me to reports given by countries in terms of emission. So when countries come up to say they are emitting 1 million tons 100 tons, 50 tons, and all that. How do they measure it? Do they include the emission from the aircraft? Do they include the emission from the the importations they do through the sea, the boats, the cargoes, and all that? Do they include the emissions? Do they also include the emissions by? Yes, definitely they are going to include by cars. But how about gas flaring? Do they include the emissions from gas flaring? You know, countries' major concern about carbon emission has been on full side, refineries and all that. But how about others that are not being included? So if countries want to go to zero net carbon, how about other sources of carbon emission that are being excluded? So what are their plans? Let's say for the aircraft, what are their plans? So are they planning on bringing something that will take away carbon emission from aircraft? How about cargoes? Are they also planning on bringing something that is also going to be a substitute? So we need to see practical, feasible approach. And even for us to as humans, the question boils down to what are we even doing to measure our own carbon footprint? Because if you're saying we want to reduce carbon emission, then it has to start from us. Yes, that's what I got from Barack Obama's speech, the former president of the United States of America. It has to start from us. What are we doing to measure our carbon footprint? What are we actually saying to the world? So if we are saying, okay, for instance, plastic pollution is much. So what are we actually doing to cut plastic pollution? How often do we patronize these people in the market? How often do we use public vehicles? How often do we even use our own personal cars? If we are talking about these things, we also have to be more individualistic in the approach of tackling climate change. Our leaders have spoken all they can. Our youth have even acted all they can. But it still is not hiding the fact that there is nothing. We haven't done anything. We haven't done anything in the sense that our leaders are still building upon promises of promises built years ago, which is still being made established even till now, that has not been actualized yet. So any that will come to tell you zero net carbon, and at times I do wonder, do they even understand the meaning of zero net carbon? When leader says zero net carbon, does the leader actually understand the meaning of zero net carbon? Have we tried on low carbon option for business and industries? How is that's going to go pretty well. Low carbon option for business and industries is going to go pretty well. While we also foster ahead for zero net carbon. So what are we doing? What are we saying? What are we acting? If the climate should be something that we all have to live in, replicating in our environment, then the action must begin with you, not from the government, not from anybody, but with you, including the government. So if the government is telling me that they want to drive towards zero net carbon, now my question to them is, their convoy, how many are they saying from today henceforth, I'm not going to be using this number of convoy anymore. I'm going to cut it. If it is 10, I'm going to split it. I'm going to take 4 or 5. And the aircraft, so if they are saying zero net carbon, they're also going to tell us, wow, I'll be using aircraft up to from today henceforth, I'm going to reduce the number of travels I embark. That's for our leaders. So let's know that, okay, now these are no more promises, but these are realistic approaches that portrays reality that they are taking to tackle climate change impact. And if our leaders are also saying that from today henceforth, they are not going to use number of cars they are using. So are they also promising us that from today henceforth, the number of barrels of diesel being refined, the, of fossil being refined rather every time is going to reduce? This is what we want to hear. We don't want to hear by 2060 zero net carbon, by 2070. No, we want to hear what you will do right from that point. So not basically telling us what you will, not what you want to do when you leave, but what you are doing already from the point you are making that speech. That's what we want to hear. So if you're saying by 2070 we are driving towards zero net carbon, you are also, in other words, telling us that from today henceforth, the number of envoy you are using is going to reduce, the number of refineries is going to reduce, the amount, the barrels of fossil is going to reduce. Yes, you are telling us that. And you're also telling us from today henceforth, you are going to make energy, renewable energy, cheap and accessible to all in the country. I'm not talking about street lights, no. Because most people right now, what they talk about is street lights as solar energy. So they tell you there is light in my country. But are there lights in the homes of those citizens? They're not just talking about putting street lights with solar panels. No. We're talking about home use lights. What's the essence of putting lights on the street when the house doesn't even have a light? That means you're keeping the road secure and leaving the houses in danger, because definitely the criminals are going to come into the house, into your house, with a road that is leading to your house. And once they come, the house is dark. They're going to steal whatever they need to steal. Criminals don't rob on daylight, man. They rob at night. And when you put the light on the road, what are you expecting? Leading them to your house without your house even having a light. So if you're telling us that you are driving towards zero net carbon, you're going to tell us from today henceforth, you are making light, you are making renewable energy accessible to all at a cheaper rate, very, very cheap. Because renewable energy is at a high price. It's not because it should be so. No, it's because the government are putting a whole lot of embargoes on it, making it expensive, thereby promoting fossil, making it more of we don't have any option but to patronize fossil. When we even know that that the renewable energy like solar is affordable for everybody, but they are making it expensive by putting a whole lot of embargoes, importations, and others. So leaders should tell us what they are doing now, not what they will do in 10 years' time. No, 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 no. We don't want that anymore. That's why I am seeing COP26 as climate of politics. Yes, climate of politics. Where politicians will come out and give us promises. I call that Machiavellian theory of reasoning, that's of politics, Machiavellianism, yes, which is built on cunning promises that you know is not going to come to reality. And the people that make these promises, one thing I often look after is they are not going to live to see it happen. And even if they live to see it happen, they are not going to work to make it happen. Yes, they are not going to live to see it happen. But if they should live to see it happen, then crying out loud, they are not going to work to make it happen. But for the few leaders that have come out to tell us this is what they are currently doing, they are not giving you sentiment, they are giving you reality, they are giving you data, they are giving you figures, they are giving you testimonials. And that same thing goes to our youth out there. The talk is too much. Let's get to work. We are scared of being in politics. If we say politics is a dirty game, that means we are leaving it for others to play this game. Yes. When they get into power, the dirty game is going to continue. Okay, yes, the dirty game is going to remain.